Welcome to AC 24/7 Top Story Countdown. We'll guide you through the biggest news of the day. Our focus, advocating our rights, advocating equality, advocating health, and advocating Earth. Here's our pick for number 4.
Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis charging 19 people for crimes in the alleged criminal enterprise to overturn the 2020 election. And 8 of them are lawyers, professionally obligated to follow the law, but now accused of breaking it. Already, at least one is now claiming the DA is criminalizing the practice of law.
It is irredeemably compromised.
Trump campaign attorney Jenna Ellis, who was front and center falsely claiming widespread election fraud, posted online defending her actions. Rudy Giuliani also shot back on his radio show.
This is all protected free speech. This is what you're allowed to do to contest an election. This is what a lawyer is allowed to do in representing a client.
Giuliani is charged with 13 counts in the indictment, more than any other defendant except Trump. In a statement, he called the charges an affront to American democracy. But former federal prosecutor Elliot Williams points out someone's status as an attorney doesn't give them carte blanche to break the law.
An attorney can provide legal representation to a client as long as they are not urging that client to commit a crime or committing a crime themselves. And the mere fact that these individuals were attorneys doesn't somehow absolve them.
Giuliani is charged as part of the broader racketeering conspiracy encompassing all 19 defendants. But he's also facing several additional charges, including making false statements to the Georgia House and Senate when he testified in 2020 about bogus voter fraud claims and urged state lawmakers to overturn the results.
There are 10 ways to demonstrate that this election was stolen, that the votes were phony, dead people, felons, phony ballots, phony mail-in ballots.
Other pro-Trump attorneys also charged include John Eastman and Kenneth Chesebro, who outlined a plan to get Vice President Mike Pence to block the certification of the election on January 6th, and Jeffrey Clark, a top Justice Department official who drafted a letter that he hoped DOJ would send to various state leaders, including in Georgia, falsely proclaiming fraud in their states.
Regarding this voter fraud at State Farm Arena was deliberately planned. It had to be.
Robert Cheeley was a lawyer who worked with Trump's team to promote voter fraud claims. He's also been charged, along with Trump campaign attorney Ray Smith.
2,506 felons voted illegally in Georgia.
And Sidney Powell has been charged with 7 crimes, including her alleged involvement in the scheme to break into voting machines in Coffee County, Georgia. She repeatedly and falsely declared Dominion voting systems as fraudulent in the weeks and months after the election.
And that's when the Dominion operators went in and injected votes and changed the whole system.
TheAdvocateChannel.com looks at the world through the lens of equality and inclusion. Subscribe, like, and share now. AC 24/7's Top Story Countdown continues with our producer's pick for number 3.
You have any place to stay tonight?
Michael Oher's biography of a homeless kid adopted by a family who helped him find NFL success was perfect for Hollywood. But Oher suggested in an interview this week, life was more complicated.
Before I moved in with the family, I was an All-American. That's what I want the generations behind me to see in this book right here, to understand that you don't have to have someone save you and rescue you to go out and be successful.
In that interview, Oher did not name the family he moved in with, Sean and Leanne Toohey, but he did name them in this Tennessee court filing, saying conservators Sean Toohey and Leanne Toohey saw something else, a gullible young man whose athletic talent could be exploited for their own benefit. Oher alleges the adoption papers he thought he signed were instead for a conservatorship, which allowed his conservators to take full control over his contracts. What's more, he said the family profited millions from the movie.
I knew it was coming.
The Toohey's son, Sean Jr., who is not named in the lawsuit and was a child when any agreements were signed, says texts refute Oher's statement he first discovered the conservatorship this year.
There were things back in 2020, 2021 that were like, if you guys give me this much, then I won't go public with things.
The lawsuit requests accounting for money earned and ending the conservatorship. The former offensive lineman hoping to call his own shots. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Like the Advocate channel on Facebook for the best way to get updated stories that advocate for equality, justice, our rights, and more. AC 24/7 continues with today's number 2 pick.
In the words she spoke,
participation in a criminal enterprise,
and the words she wrote in her indictment of Donald Trump, like calling him and his associates a criminal organization, Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis made this Georgia indictment seem like other famous prosecutions.
The DA made very clear in her remarks that this was no different than a mafia Rico conspiracy.
The Georgia RICO law is what Trump and his 18 co-defendants in Georgia are charged with violating as part of their efforts to overturn the 2020 election results in that state. RICO standing for Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations. Experts say the advantage of RICO is that it allows several individuals to be tried together.
As a loose group of correlated individuals and schemes in which not every individual has to know what the other individual was doing.
But using the statute has disadvantages too.
The danger of using RICO is it's more complicated. You've got multiple defendants now, and that makes a harder case to prove. And for the jury, it becomes much harder to follow.
Analysts say Georgia's version of RICO is not very different from the federal RICO Act, signed into law in 1970.
It has been extremely successful. It has been a real hammer on a lot of different defendants.
And one of the pioneers of using that RICO statute in prosecutions now finds himself targeted by it.
This election was a sham.
Former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani facing several RICO-related charges in the Georgia case. In the 1980s, serving as the top federal prosecutor in Manhattan, Giuliani was aggressive in using RICO to take down the city's most powerful dons.
He used it against the Mafia Commission, basically breaking up the 5 families, going after the bosses themselves.
Notorious violent bosses like Fat Tony Salerno of the Genovese crime family and Carmine Jr. Persico of the Colombo family, among several organized crime figures indicted by Giuliani under RICO.
It's actually a very sad day to see somebody who was such a pioneer using this very statute to show how it can be used, being on the receiving end of it right now.
Follow the Advocate channel on Twitter and Instagram to stay updated on stories that matter every day. We have now arrived at our number 1 story of the day. Take a look.
It's unclear how many people remain unaccounted for as the death toll on Maui continues to rise.
It will go up very significantly.
The president addressing the federal response on Tuesday.
I've spoken to Governor Josh Green multiple times and reassured him the state will have everything it needs from the federal government.
Residents who want to return home to assess the damage are facing challenges.
It's just hard and unbelievable.
Outside West Maui, frustrated family members are waiting. Officials suspended an access plan after just 1 day, saying too many non-residents and others tried to get entry.
My dad's still there. There's certain things that he still needs that we need to get to him specifically, like medicine.
If people go into Ground Zero too soon, our responders, our FEMA folks, will not be able to do the job that they are there to do.
The entire catastrophic chain of events and the official response now the focus of a state investigation.
I've personally authorized a comprehensive review so we have every answer going forward.
For now, the island spirit of family is giving many survivors hope.
It's a big ohana here on the island, so everyone's doing the same thing. We're all chipping in. We're doing our best.
Thanks for watching the Advocate channel's top stories. We're on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Follow, like, and share. Or check out advocatechannel.com for even more stories that advocate for you.